Happy Saturday. I hope you are doing well. My name is Quashara Halliburton. I am the CEO of Quashara Detroit Publishing. I'm an author, speaker, and also a nonfiction writing coach. I'm excited today to share with you 7 steps to prepare your manuscript for professional editing. So, first of all, before I get into the 7 steps, I want to thank all those that have been following the 30-day journey, the 30-day live challenge. Today is day 13. And you can check all of my lives I had under the Reels tab. I have days 1 through 12 listed. Hey, Dr. McKenzie, thanks so much for joining. So today we're talking about 7 ways to prepare your manuscript for professional editing. Now, these are 7 ways that I've used in the past, and I've used these 7 ways for clients. Not all projects you do the same thing, but I'm just going to go through the steps. And this will make it easier when you are overwhelmed with preparation for editing. When you have written your first draft already, and now you're in the process of self-editing. So these steps, you'll be able to use these to set your manuscript up for success when you send it to a professional editor. Okay, so the first step is to look at your manuscript, right? And I want you to divide each chapter into a separate either Microsoft Word document or Google document. Okay, you can also do this for introduction, acknowledgments. Sometimes acknowledgments aren't really that long, but you can do that for your, again, introduction. You can do that for acknowledgments if you have any other categories that goes before your chapters. But this is mainly for your chapters, the more meaty parts of your book. So I'm going to be looking at my notes on my computer. Divide up your manuscript into separate chapters. You can use Microsoft Word. Hey, Carrie, thanks so much for joining. You can use Google Docs. And you can also even print out each chapter. When you print it out and you can see it in front of you, it'll kind of remind you of going back to high school when the teacher will get your paper and will get a red ink pen or a marker and just go through your manuscript. Okay, and then start looking for inconsistencies. Okay, so that's the first thing, to divide up your chapters into separate documents, because it'll allow you to focus on that chapter and you won't be so overwhelmed with the whole book project. Okay, so the second thing is to just do the simple spell check or the grammar check with Microsoft Word. Okay, very simple. Okay, because right now what you're doing is looking for punctuation, spelling errors, inconsistencies like that. Okay. The third thing is to use the read aloud tool that's on Microsoft Word. When you hear your manuscript read aloud, it'll help you hear inconsistencies. You can read it yourself, or you can use the Microsoft Word tool and hear the words for your manuscript, because when you hear the words, you'll hear the inconsistencies there. Okay, so that's the third thing. Number 4 is to use the free grammar tool on Grammarly. Okay, that'll help you also find some other errors that you may have missed. When you put it on Grammarly, if you get the free tool, it won't go as in depth as if you get the paid tool, but it'll show you some inconsistencies. Maybe there's a non-verb that's not agreeing, in agreement. So it'll point out those things so you can go back and correct that, okay, before you hand it over to the editor. The next thing is once you go through and you see the errors, what you need to do is update those separate documents and do a fresh, clean copy, right? Because at the end, before you submit this to your professional editor, you're going to submit one document. But the reason I'm saying break these documents up by chapters, because you want to be able to focus on those chapters as you are going through the self-editing process. So this is submitting it to a professional editor, because you're going to take some time to look at your manuscript. Because if you just send it to your editor with all these inconsistencies, it's going to take longer time. It's going to be more money for you. So on your end, you need to do some work, some pre-work in the editing process. Okay, so number 6 is ask for beta readers. Maybe you should have 1 or 2 beta readers that are in your target audience. Whoever your target audience is, have some beta readers read a few chapters and give you their ideas, because they're the ones that are going to be reading your book, right? So you want to make sure that this is appealing to your target audience. And beforehand, before you even get into the writing process, you're going to be asking your target audience questions so that you can use that, so you can see what the interest is in that certain topic. So ask beta readers to read your manuscript. So what I do with clients, if they want to get beta readers involved, what I do is I write, I divide up the chapters and I assign maybe a couple of chapters to a specific beta reader, and they'll read through. I'll do a survey and ask, if this was understandable. Do they think something is missing in your manuscript? And then we also have them check off and sign, that, of course there's copyright already, a copyright notice on there. So no one can actually go ahead and, take your work without being sued, because you're going to already have a copyright registration in hand. So you're going to pick somebody that you believe is trustworthy, and you're just going to have them read, and they'll sign a copyright notice saying that they understand that this is already, a copyrighted project. So they're not, you're going to get somebody who you can trust or whatever. And, have them just read over your couple of chapters and give their opinion. And then when you get those opinions back from your beta reader, you can either, kind of tweak it based upon if it makes sense, because sometimes you'll have someone read it in the target audience and they say, this doesn't seem like reality. This seems kind of like a little bit off here. And so when they give you your suggestions, you can take those suggestions and improve your manuscript before you get it to your editor. Okay. So again, I'm going to go over all of these suggestions. The first one is to divide up your manuscript into separate chapters and separate documents, so you can focus on that one document. So chapter 1 will be in a Microsoft Word document or a Google Doc, so you can focus on that chapter specifically and not worry about the whole project. And what you need to do is divide these up by day. So if you have 8 chapters, then take 8 days, 1 day per chapter to do the self-editing. Okay. The second thing is to use the spell check or the grammar program that's in Microsoft Word. The third thing to do is to use the Grammarly tool, the free Grammarly tool. Okay. The fourth thing is to read your manuscript aloud, or use the tool on Microsoft Word to read your manuscript, because it'll read it out loud. Again, when you hear it out loud, it will catch inconsistencies in your manuscript. The next thing that you would need to do is to, when you get all the inconsistencies, do a clean copy, right? Do a clean copy and look it over one more time. And then another thing you can also do, print out those chapters and kind of look at it, because sometimes it's something about seeing the words on paper that helps you to, see the errors that you may miss on the computer, because you may just be glancing over it on the computer. But sometimes when you get it printed out and look at it, you'll be able to see those, inconsistencies in your manuscript. So we talked about reading it aloud, use the free Grammarly tool, updating with a clean copy, and then get beta readers. And then if your beta readers have good suggestions, you can update your manuscript based upon those suggestions. And then this is a good format. The final thing, I didn't talk about this before, but the format that you need to submit it to your editor is either a Microsoft Word document or a Google Doc. Now, each editor may have their own way that they want it to be submitted, but most editors want a 12-point double spaced, and either New Times Roman or Arial. Everybody has their own requirements, but that it's going to be in one document. So all the ones that you had separated, you did that just so it can be easy for you to self-edit, but you're going to put everything back together once you've made all your updates, your edits, and you're going to put it together in one document, either a Microsoft Word document or a Google Doc. And again, it depends on what the editor is requesting. Okay. Because every time, every editor is a little bit different, but most editors either use Microsoft Word or Google Docs, whichever one. Okay, so make sure it's double spaced. Make sure that it's New Times Roman or Arial. And also, each chapter needs to be on its own individual page. So, and even like the the acknowledgments, table of contents, introduction, chapter 1, chapter 2. Each new section needs to be on a first page. So like for instance, its own page. So when you submit your document, so for instance, I have this book right here, right? The table of contents is chapter 1. Write your bestseller. So write your bestseller needs to be on a different page. It can't all run together. Each chapter needs to start on a new page. Okay. And then make sure you include the title page, your subtitle, your synopsis that's on the back of your book. Make sure you include that in your manuscript so that the editor can review what's on the back of your book. Okay. So your synopsis and then your author bio, also include that as well so that the editor can review that as well. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me today. Just came on briefly today just to go over that, and thanks so much for all those that will see the replay. And today is day 13 of 30 days of live, so I'll be back on tomorrow. If you have any comments, you can send me a direct message, or you can put it in the chat so that I can answer any questions that you may have. I'm just looking to see if there are any questions. Okay, well, that's it. So I just came on real quick for a minute, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your Saturday evening. Peace out.